Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of Yes, hello and welcome back to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. No, we're all good. We're all good. A bit of difficulty there with the video, the intro video that we normally play. Let's see if it works. Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. So there we go. There's the video to intro us. I'm not sure what quite happened with it at the start there. But yes, match preview and lineup prediction time for what is our first Premier League game in some time. It will have almost been 2 weeks since Liverpool have taken to the field in the Premier League. Please get your comments in now for the furniture lads. That's what I'm going to call them. Part of the furniture here at the Kop TV. We've got James Redmond having a little yawn there very early. And of course, Freestyle DM, aka Doyle Mills. Please get your questions in now for the lads, and we will answer them throughout the show. Get your super chats in as well. It's the very first show ever on the Kop TV where we have super chats. So very exciting. Let us know if you want to use those. Get your funny, get your random, but most importantly, get your Liverpool questions for the lads. James and Doyle, how are we, fellas?
All right, lads, I'm doing good today.
I'm doing great, my mate. Doyle is... I can't see Doyle. I don't know if it's just me.
I can see you, lads.
Can you? No,
can we see
you
Doyle?
see Doyle, Alex?
I can see Doyle. Doyle, I can see.
I can see Alex.
Oh, fair.
I think
well,
we're all
then
sweet.
carry on. I can still hear him. Yeah,
I'm sorry you're missing out,
Then
Jay,
I'm
lads.
sound,
I know you want to have a little look, lads.
Nah, it's all right, my mate. It's just you're black on my screen, lad, so I thought it might have been a thing, you know what I mean?
Nah, well, we can see him, hopefully. Let us know in the comments if you are having any difficulties. But let's get into this one, lads. A lot of time has passed since the last Premier League game that we had, which was, of course, Manchester City. Talk to me about how we're feeling prior to this one. I mean, there's obviously been a lot that's happened since that City game up until now in terms of COVID, injuries. James even joked the other day that his channel is becoming an injury update channel. So how do we go? How do we feel going into this one? Let's start off with James.
Listen, I think the one thing we need to establish is that there's actually been good news recently. There's been people coming back from injury. There's pictures of Fabinhos and Thiago possibly being fit for this game. Then you've even got the news about other players possibly coming back. And you know what? Even Ox coming back into training, Virgil van Dijk starting light training. I know it doesn't have much to do with the Leicester game itself, but you know what? With the fact we've just had a pretty fucking horrible 2 weeks, 2 weeks that I really didn't enjoy and I wanted to end very, very, very fast. And therefore, I'm happy it's over. And the fact now it is over and we're approaching, I can see Doyle again now, a couple of days before the game, then I think that's actually good because it seems to be adding more positive vibes around the club. We're not going into this game now with the latest piece of news being like Reece Williams has got a sore hip, or like the latest news is like Fabinho's defo missing for this game. And maybe they will be, maybe they won't start, but at least now we've got the options of other players, you know what I mean? And the fact that there is now seeming to be a more positive energy around the club.
Yeah, I think the photos that came out, 100%. I totally agree with you, bro. We'll definitely answer a lot of these questions coming in. Big out to Diego, this Crystal Palace fan. He's getting involved this morning, says morning to all the lads. But James, I think what you said there is perfectly summed up by the pictures that came out yesterday of training. Now, it wasn't totally outdoor with a lot of football training. It was a lot of indoor gym stuff. But Doyle, in the gym yesterday, we saw Fabinho, we saw Thiago knocking around as well. Klopp obviously likes his players to have 3 days of full training before he even thinks about putting them into that first team squad for Sunday. Technically, though, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's technically 4 days. I mean, we play very late on Sunday night as well, 7:15 kickoff. Do you think that we could actually manage to squeeze in a Thiago or a Fabinho to start this game on Sunday?
I think that he's going to start both of them. I don't think he can afford not to in that type of way. With the defence that we've got at the moment, he's going to have to put Fab at the back, mate. He's just going to have to, isn't he? And with Salah being gone, we're going to need a more attacking threat with Thiago as well. So I feel like it's not a case of will he? He just has to. That's what I feel like anyway. I feel like if it were me, I'd have to make that decision because we're missing such key elements in the team at the moment that if we just let that slide, it's going to be a difficult game for us.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficult game, James. We know this. Leicester themselves, though, have a lot of injuries. Who are you most scared about seeing line up against us? I mean, they have got some good players. They are top of the league as well, we shouldn't forget.
Well, where else do you start other than the man up front who's got 7 goals against Liverpool, 8 goals this season and an assist in Jamie Vardy? The man's on fire. The man just seems to have that Ibrahimovic effect. He's getting better with age and he's making no sense. He's one of them that defines physics and science and all that bullshit. But he is, though, and I was watching him against Leeds a couple of weeks ago and I was thinking, you're actually boss. Like, you're not just like you're actually so good at just so many other things, because I was on the train that Vardy was like just a fluke for quite a while. Obviously, I've known he's a baller for years now, but I mean, there was for that first period of him like really exploding into the Premier League, I was like, it's his pace getting him through it. You know, the team are playing a good system around him, but he'll get caught out. He's still doing it now. You can never ever, that goal just across the face of Lovren, you can never ever forget that goal, and that can never be one of the worst moments in a Liverpool fan's life, because it was for me. And you know what, mate? I just think that with the fact that there could be a possibility Fabinho doesn't start this game, there's a possibility that, well, I actually think it's confirmed, Reece Williams is out for this game, not sure exactly. Yeah. But with that being said, you've got Fabinho, who, if he doesn't start, then you're losing your best defender right now, arguably. Yeah. Obviously, you've got Joel Matip as well. But then Reece Williams, the more agile, more quicker centre-back out of the Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, out of them two. You'd probably want your more quicker, more agile centre-back to be trying to keep up with Jamie Vardy, because all we've seen from Phillips so far, and we'll get into the particular in a bit, but all we've seen from him so far is that he's good in the air, and we know that Leicester don't really play that way, do you know what I mean? So Jamie Vardy is one of them, but let's not forget about NDD at the other end, who's going to be trying to stop our momentum of play. Bear in mind, we've got players missing. Averages 2.5 tackles a game, 3 interceptions per game. He's been doing really well. Obviously, just coming back from injury, that'll be huge for Leicester City. So there's a few players that we've got to watch out for.
Yeah, that's a great point. To be fair, that Leicester definitely don't like to play it in the air. They definitely like to play it in behind, don't they? Vardy on that last shoulder is going to be a threat. But I think if we manage to stop the supply to him, and that's a Maddison and then Didi. Crosses from the right and left, then I do think that Vardy could have a quiet game. James is right. 7 goals in 11 appearances against Liverpool so far in the Premier League for Vardy. He's a definite bagsman. We know this. But I've always said, if you can cut off the supply to Vardy, he almost stands there like a ghost for the game, because unless he gets those balls behind, he's hardly going to come deep, fight for the ball and then take it back up himself, James.
Nah, yeah, you're right. And you know what? But that's the thing, though. Vardy will probably find a way, and with the fact that he's got a Maddison available and other players, I think this will be able. And Brendan Rodgers will want to exploit this, and Brendan Rodgers will know, especially with no Hendo, that our midfield's probably going to be a lot more open. And that's one thing I'm actually very worried about, no Hendo, because the last time we didn't have him, you saw what happened against Villa, and Leicester are arguably a more attack and more offensive side than Villa. So that being said, I think that it will be a difficult day. I think he always gives us trouble. And it would be quite naive, I think. I think we can. It's not impossible, but it'd be quite naive just to say we can shut him out with the circumstances that we're under. So I think he's the number one. Whether you've got a full fit defence or a not full fit defence, he's the one you've got to focus on.
Yeah, Doyle. James mentions there we might not have Hendo about. Obviously, I'm still hoping that he does play or is involved on the day. The win percentage without him is just shocking. Yeah. And we win most of the games when Henderson plays. We'll of course get into a lineup prediction very shortly as well. But I mean, let's touch on the international break, because we've sent all of our players away who are playing in the international break. The likes of Firmino, Keita, Mane, Salah, Robertson, Henderson, Gomez. All these players have gone away. And I'd say at least 75% of them have come back either injured or COVID. Now, at the start of this international break, I said I wouldn't be surprised if they all come back with COVID or injuries, and look what's happened. No international football now for 5 months, Doyle.
It's one of them, lad, and it's like you can't stop it from happening. It's going to happen. We can't prepare for it. And the worst situation that could possibly happen has happened to Liverpool. Like I've genuinely never seen a team be depleted so much. I've never seen this before, ever. I don't think about, even with City, they had a few injuries and that, and they had key players missing.
Not unlike
but they didn't have. This is crazy, bro. This is literally like a pandemic in Liverpool, like a mini pandemic in the football club. Do you know what I mean, lads? I can't actually believe that our entire defence is gone. Like, it's blown me, man. Even that Salah's gone as well. I can't believe it, lads. If you would have said to me at the start of the season this was going to happen, lad, I would have told you to shut up, lads. There's no way I would have believed this, lads.
I agree with you, Doyle. And you know what as well? It actually speaks volumes to the fact that now we've not got our full defence yet. We still believe and we can win this game. It just shows where Jurgen Klopp's taken us to, mate, and the belief that we have in our manager. Because if this is under a Brendan Rodgers, let's say, mate, our confidence is all shot. We're saying, let's just hope that we can stay in the top half for a bit. Like, honestly, mate, Jurgen Klopp is different.
If Hendo starts this game, I think we could be all right as long as he starts the game because he's got Fab behind him. If Fab and Hendo, Thiago starts, yeah, exactly, lad. He's going to be able to lead, and that's what I want. Alisson's going to start as well, so he's going to have that demanding, commanding you know, that he's going to be there as well. So Hendo starts, lads. I think it's going to be all right. We got Jota to replace Salah and that, lads. I think it'll be all right as long as he starts.
How likely is Hendo to miss this one, James? I think you've been reading up a little bit more about this than me. I mean, what's the percentages there? Because we've seen pictures of him in kind of training yesterday.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's not that he's fully confirmed out. And again, like, I've saw those pictures as well, but it's just, you don't know what the situation there is. Yeah. I think he probably could start. When I did see them pictures before, them pictures I weren't too sure. It's just because Liverpool have been very quiet with the updates on players this season. They're keeping cards very close to the chest with not just Henderson. They've done it with Thiago. I thought Thiago could have been back before the break and then he weren't. And same with Fabinho. There was rumours that he was back, then he weren't, and now he is. And it's a weird one. And I understand it from Klopp's point of view because to have regular updates for however many injuries is near enough impossible. Yeah. So I do think if Henderson is 100% fit, and I said this for Matip before the last game, I said, no, it doesn't matter if he hasn't been playing. As long as he's fit, as long as the manager thinks he's fit, you play him because he's your best player. So he's your best option. And I think the same about Henderson. And I actually think that more about Henderson than what I do about most other very crucial players in that first 11. I think Henderson is first 2 or 3 names on that team sheet. So
same as.
Same, 100%. I mean, we all know here that Henderson himself is going to be absolutely dying to play. There's not going to be any, let me sit this one out and come back for Atalanta. Henderson realises how important this game is. And every time Henderson doesn't start at Anfield in a Premier League game, it's almost like, you know, when a boxer with a 0 record, you know, somebody's always got to go. Every time we play at Anfield and we're still holding that 3.5-year unbeaten run at the Fortress, and we don't have Henderson, you do feel a little bit more vulnerable that we might not carry on that incredible run that we have carried on so far. But let's get into some questions here before we start the lineup prediction. Thanks to everyone getting involved. Ibrahim saying 2-1 to Liverpool. Stephen here says, well, lads, I'm having a break from my university class. So do you think if Fabinho isn't fit to play on Sunday, would you have Nat Phillips alongside Matip? We will, of course, answer this in the lineup prediction very shortly. As well as this question from John, the ideal centre-back pairing. Universal boss Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool win the Premier League this season. I think they will have to be one of the greatest teams. Do you agree? I mean, I've said quite a lot of times recently, lads, that if we do win the league with all of these injuries, like Doyle said, it's a joke. If someone had told you at the start of the season all this is going to happen, there's just no way you would have believed them. But I'm saying, lads, if in this league with 9, 10, 11, how many injuries we've had, it has to be considered as one of the greatest Premier League wins ever. I had Lee Chappie on the show. Obviously, you did as well, James, on your channel. And I was saying to him, we could never compare what we did or what we're hopefully about to do compared to Leicester's win. But it's up there, isn't it, if we do this?
Mate, it's the best year under Jurgen Klopp. Like you said, it's a conversation to have the best in history because one thing that every winning team, including that Leicester team, has in common, they had a starting 11 players that were there for the majority of the season, that were there for the consistency and there throughout the season. Even last season, Man City losing one of their most crucial players in Laporte fucked them defensively. Therefore, they lost many more points. And that led us to win the league by such a dominating fashion. Obviously, we were on form as well. But now, if we win the league with a team that isn't consistent, with a team that, even if we get more lucky with injuries from January onwards, we've just had to play still the first half of that fucking season, which is hectic, by the way, with mega injuries. Our new star signing not playing. Henderson's being out. Alisson's being out at some stages. We know that as well because you could even argue Alisson being out dropped us a couple of points. Also, we've had now Trent out, Gomez, Van Dijk, name after name after name. That's not a consistent starting 11, and that's usually what wins trophies and wins Premier League. So in my opinion, I think if you're chopping and changing and your squad has won you the Premier League, not your starting 11, your squad, then yeah, greatest Premier League achievements of all time. But people will call me biased, and I do get why they would say that, because that Leicester achievement was unreal in itself. But like you said though, Alex, two different things. In a way, it's hard to compare them.
Hard to compare them. Kai Lewis says, yes, lads. David, hey, Alex. James and Doyle. Darren Whedon, looking fresh, lads. Happy Friday. I hope you three are looking as fresh after full time on Sunday. I'm going for a 2-1 win. I think it'll be a very tough game, but you have to back Liverpool at home. Of course, we're all going to back Liverpool. Let's quickly do a score prediction then before we get into our lineup prediction. We'll start off with Doyle.
Lads, go live on this, I think Vardy's going to score. Like, with the defence that we have, I don't see any real pace. If someone gets a ball in behind, it's probably going to happen. 1 or 2 balls are going to get in behind, lads. Unless Alisson's going to save them, I think Vardy's probably going to score, lads. So it's a difficult one. Jota's on fire. I think Jota is going to be the key to this game, lad. And a little bit of Mane on the side, lad. So maybe, I think 3-1. I think if Leicester flap it, lad, I know what they like, lad. They flap. So I think if we get a goal, they'll just be like, oh, we're losing again. That type of thing against Liverpool, do you get what I mean? So 3-1. 3-1, lads.
3-1. I'm going to go with 3-1 as well. I do think the home advantage, even though there's no fans, is still going to go in our favour. As long as we can stop the midfield's kind of supply to Vardy, like Doyle said, I do think he'll score. But as long as we can kind of crush that midfield, and especially if we've got Fabinho and Thiago in the mix, we'll be fine and win this one. It will be tight though. I'm not disagreeing with anyone there about how tight it's going to be on Sunday night. Really looking forward to actually seeing the team sheet when it comes out around 6 o'clock on Sunday. I think that's going to be a big one. A lot of chat here about Gini Wijnaldum's contract situation here from Gopal. He says places can't be guaranteed even for Thiago. Recently saw the wage bill and was amazed that Gini earns 75k a week. A few 10-year-old fans are quitting on Gini as he is demanding more wages. I mean, 75 grand a week to us guys is an outrageous sum of money. Of course it is. But for Gini Wijnaldum, if you consider what he's won, how long he's now been at Liverpool, if you're him, I mean, you're coming into the peak of his career, you'd probably want double that, wouldn't you?
People, this is what I don't like about most football fans. They seem to forget the point that, like, as a footballer, you're only so much in your prime for a certain amount of time. You're at the top of your game for a certain amount of time. And it's the same for UFC fighters. You've got to try and make the bag while you're there and you're hot. And that's the thing, mate. It's like Gini Wijnaldum. He's, like you just said, Alex, he's a Champions League winner. He's a Premier League winner. He's done everything that deserves a good contract, especially what your last good contract, because I would assume if he was to sign one with us now, then that would be his last big contract at Liverpool and probably in his career. So with the fact that he can still get a big move now to another club, I mean, I don't know how else really to go further other than to say I think I can speak for everyone here, and I think whoever said that point about you can't guarantee places, including Thiago, You've got to look into that, because Gini Wijnaldum, especially recently, has been looking insane, and we need to talk about Gini Wijnaldum and give him the respect that he deserves, because the performances that he's been showing over the international break, leading his national side to victory, he's taken over that leading role from Virgil van Dijk. He's another leader that we've got in the squad. We don't know how crucial he is in that aspect because we've got Hendo and Virg and stuff like that. But now we're going to see how important Gini is as a leader, and I think we're seeing that. I think we're seeing a more standout performance from Gini Wijnaldum now as well, because he just seems to be more hungry, and he seems that he knows he's more of the man. Even in that game against Atalanta, I just felt he was bossing it, and I felt he had the confidence like he could boss it, and same every game since. And he just seems to be elevating, and then he's scoring goals for his national team. His confidence is going to be sky high. And I've said it from the summer, you sign Gini Wijnaldum on a new contract because not only does he add to your first team, but what he adds to your squad, you will miss that when he leaves. You will. And I just cannot be arsed, because it's inevitable. With all the Liverpool fans say, "Oh, we shouldn't have sold Gini Wijnaldum because we now miss this." Well, guess what? We should not. We shouldn't even. We should have signed a new contract for him already. That's my opinion.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Doyle. I know you're a big Gini Wijnaldum fan as well. Do you think he should be earning more than he's getting, as David says here?
Yeah, lads. I think that he should be getting maybe not like a Salah or a Mane or like them type of players. And the reason being is, you get money for stats as well. You know what I mean? Like, you do get money for goals and you do get money for assists. And Gini is not an assists and goals machine. That's not what he is. But he does add massive amounts to our game, lad. Things that go unsung. So he should get praise for that, and he should be paid for it as well. I think what Jay said about because I massively relate to this. When you're in your prime or when you're in your peak, you have to make the money while you can, because your body's not going to last forever, lad. That's the way it works. And so I do respect Gini in a way, saying, listen, I'm a good player, lad, so I deserve to be played like a good player, or I'll go somewhere where they do pay me well. And lads, you can't blame him for that. He's done everything. He's been a good servant for the club. If he wants to leave and go and do that, you can't feel bad about it, because he should get what he deserves. However, I do feel like the football club do like him. There was a recent post that they posted on Instagram about him. He just about the games in the Netherlands and said that they were proud of him. So I feel like,
why have you not signed him on a new contract, though, Doyle?
I don't know, lads. I can't work out. Maybe he's asking for too much.
Offered him one.
You've offered him one. Maybe he's asking for too much. Maybe he's asking for a lot of dough. Like, maybe he's asking for like 200k or something, lad.
I need to look more into it, but I just think you get him over the line. Like, you get him.
Yeah, I agree, lad. And I agree, lad. I agree. Because also, lad, he doesn't get fucking injured, lad. He hardly gets injured. That's what you want, lad.
He's reliable.
We need players that don't get injured, lad, and we need them to stay there. Especially one like him, who's a tactician.
Can you even recall, I mean, I might be missing a big chunk out, but I can't really recall Gini Wijnaldum having many problems with injuries throughout his whole time at Liverpool, and he was one of the first signings with Mane. So he's just been brilliant since he came in.
I
love him. It seems like we can hear Doyle perfectly. I'm just struggling with his connection. I think there's a little bit of lag there. I'll just take him out and put him back in.
Hello? Can you hear me
better? A little bit of movement. I think we can hear you perfectly, bro. It's a bit laggy. Anyway, we'll carry on. Let's get into the lineup prediction then, lads. So in goal, obviously Alisson. Yeah. Right back, this is a big one. I'm going for Nico Williams. I think we have to play Nico Williams in this one. If he doesn't get a game when Trent is injured, when is he possibly going to play? Do you guys agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Who else are we going to stick there, lads?
James Milner.
He's too much of a... I don't know, lads.
He looked very good when he came on against City, and I agree. Don't get me wrong, he is too slow, but it's not that he's too slow. He's still got experience. He's got more experience than Nico Williams, and I just think that if you put Nico Williams in this game, you're setting him up basically just to get slaughtered after it. And I don't think he's a bad player. And Alex, you asked the question there, which I can actually feel like I can give a decent answer to. If Nico Williams doesn't start in this game, then when can you give him a start? Let me tell you when. Yeah. There's a game in midweek against Atalanta. That's a game that you can start Nico Williams, because we need to rotate. But not only that, that's a game that we can actually afford to drop a point in. Therefore, you can give him that one. We need to win this game. Therefore, I want to start my best players. I think James Milner is a more reliable right back. And with the way Leicester play, I want to see my most reliable defenders in that back line. Nico Williams is not that. I don't think he's bad. I've actually been on this channel and I've praised Nico Williams, and I've said the stick that he got was out of order. But just for this game, like I said, with in mind that Atalanta is midweek, start James Milner.
Doyle, you're going for Nico Williams then. So
I don't know. You know, James... with the points that Jay's just made, he's made great points there, Jay, lads. He really has. He's got experience, and now I'm thinking as well with the back line, we're not really going to have a lot of experience in there, so it'll probably be nice to have some in there. So maybe Milner, lads. I'm going with Jay, you know.
And when you don't start your captain, say if Hendo doesn't, obviously he most likely will, but if you don't start your captain, then you your vice captain.
Yeah.
I actually think that I would prefer Nico to play it, but I actually believe that Klopp will use Milner over Nico. I just think this is the type of thing where Klopp looks to James Milner and says, hey, look, captain today, right back, don't let me down. And then Nico comes in on Wednesday. James makes some great points there, to be fair. Right, centre-back partnership. There was a question earlier saying who should be centre-backs on Saturday. I mean, one name that we can, I think, throw in there that isn't injured is Joel Matip. I think he goes in, does he not, lads? And then,
he's got to, lads. I want Fab. Yeah. I want Matip and Fab, lad. I feel like that's the best partnership we've got. They're both really tall. They're reasonably quick. They're both good footballers. They're both technical. Hopefully, they can play together. I've never seen them play together. That's the one thing. So I don't actually know if it's going to be any good. But they're the best defenders, like Jay's been saying. We need to play our best players. They're our best defenders. So them two in the centre back.
Agree.
I agree 100%. I think there's no doubt that if Fabinho's fit, you start him in this game. And as much as I like Nat Phillips against West Ham, that was a style of game that looked like suited him. And obviously, you've got to be good. You've got to just handle with what you're given. And he dealt with Haller very well. But Haller is not Jamie Vardy. And I think even look back at when Fabinho was controlling Timo Werner. Timo Werner is a very, very good, quick player that can get in behind. And we know that for a fact, and I think that's the type of player that Jamie Vardy is in a similar way. So I think get Fabinho in there if fit. If not, then who else can you put other than Phillips? You know what I mean, mate?
Yeah, that's
a lot of people in the comments saying Nat Phillips and Matip. Here, Darren says Nat Phillips, Matip. David, Phillips and Matip. Rory, Phillips and Matip.
Can I just say something to the people in the chat? And everyone is like, no one's wrong on this channel. And I say this about my channel. No one's wrong when they voice an opinion. And if you feel like Nat Phillips is good enough to start this game, then fair enough to you. My opinion, you look at the one game, and we've only got evidence of one game. Obviously, the derby last year, he looked all right. But in terms of this season, Premier League, we've got one game where he looked decent, and he got man of the match in that game. You look at the way West Ham played. First off, they never had Antonio, so they needed to adjust their style of play. Second off, they need to try and get that ball into Haller. And the thing is, it looks like we saw the strongest side of Nat Phillips' game. We haven't saw the side where he has to come up against the Jamie Vardy. And we know what Fabinho can do. So I'm just offering to the chat, do you still agree with that point? Do you still think you should start Phillips if Fabinho is fit, when we know that Fabinho can deal with them quicker strikers? And obviously, you never drop Matip anyway, as the chat have just said. Just a question that I wanted to throw to the chat, because I thought giving them maybe that perspective might make them change their mind, but fair point.
And Rory Pirlo says, RIP Fabinho's hamstrings if he plays on Sunday. David also says, Fabinho's weight room not on the pitch yesterday. A lot of interesting theories then about who will play centre-back. I think we'll start off with Fabinho and Matip on this channel anyway. Left-back, there was some rumours, or some more stronger than rumours. Steve Clark came out and said Robertson was struggling with his hamstring. It seems as though he's okay. Started for Scotland the other night. He comes straight in at left-back, lads?
He's got to. He's got to, lad. If he's going to play for Scotland, he's got to play for us as well, lads.
Yeah.
The only thing I have something to fault this argument, and it's kind of like not really the counter one that I said for right back, because I said for right back you need your best players to start, and I agree with him in this case, but it's usually not good. And I've been saying this before. He got that injury for Scotland, by the way. Robbo's playing too much football, man, and like there's only so much football that you can give to people. And I even said before the injury, let's maybe think about giving him a rest for Leicester, because now Shimikas, who, by the way, has just got a bunch of minutes for Greece. He played 60 minutes in the second game, I think. No, he played 45 minutes in the first game, 60 minutes in the second, and then a full 90 minutes in his last game for Greece. So he's got minutes under his belt now. He's more than match fit. Therefore, I wouldn't be upset to see him brought in. And just give Robbo a few more days rest for the Atalanta game. Now, again, counterpoint to what I said before, but just to play devil's advocate, we don't want Robbo to possibly end up like a Trent situation where he's just pulling up on the sidelines because he spent all the game trying to keep up with Jamie Vardy, which is a very big possibility, boys. You can't look past things like that. Robbo was a workhorse, but that's why we need to protect him. You need to protect the player, because he's not going to say, I don't want to play. He's not going to not work hard for the team. Even if he's feeling injured in his leg, he's not going to stop. Do you think he's going to sit there and think, oh, I should stop running here because the team's got many injuries? No, he's going to fucking try and get the ball. We know what Robbo's like. Therefore, I think if we're thinking about this strategically, Shimikas isn't a bad left back. He's still quick and he can still do bits. And it's actually be good to see how we do against a level of opposition like Leicester. At the same time, you can rest Robbo. Give him that 1 week break that he might need for his career, and then we'll go forwards on that. However, I do still think he will start Robbo.
No, I think you make a great point there. I wouldn't be too upset, to be fair, if we did see Tsimikas. I think it's about time that maybe someone other than James Milner took the workload off of Robbo in the left-back position. Let's get into the midfield then. It's tough to say this one, really tough. I mean, Fabinho normally plays in midfield. Thiago, we don't know if he's going to be around. Henderson, we don't know. I mean, one person that we know is going to start this game is Gini Wijnaldum. Scored, I think it's 3 goals in 2 games for Holland over the international break. Given it this celebration in the absence of Virgil, who would you like to see start in the midfield, Doyle? We'll start with you first.
I want to see Gini, Thiago, and Hendo. That's what I want to see.
How realistic is that?
Probably very. We don't know. That's the thing. It's like Hendo and all that. It's like you don't know, do you, about who's 100% and who's not 100%. So, like, I think we should go, if these are fit, then Thiago and Hendo, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that midfield. I think my dream midfield, like I've always said, Thiago, Fabinho and Hendo. The second best midfield is the midfield that hopefully we do put out on Saturday. But who knows? He could bring Milner in. If he is playing Nico at right back, you never know. Milner could come in the middle. You obviously got Keita, who scored for Gini in the international break as well. So he's there. Curtis Jones scored for England under-21s. Shaqiri could also play there as well. And we've got a lot of players who can fill in that midfield position. Ox is back in light training now as well, which is great to see as well. He's looking sharp. And Rory Pillow says, Doyle 1% chance, 99% faith. Love that. David says, Thiago and Henderson won't start. He is going with Milner, Gini in the midfield. Let's talk about the three up front then. I think this is a pretty easy one with Mane, Firmino and Jota, is it not?
Yep. That's it, lad, isn't it?
Well, there you go then. That's our lineup.
I was going to say about
Bobby
Firmino,
to step up, lads.
about Firmino because I think this could be a good game for him, and I'm saying this every weekend now for Bobby, for fuck's sake. But I just think, like, you know what, mate? He keeps coming back from these international breaks and he's having a good bit of form. And then I feel like now, just with the new dynamic of Jota and Mane as well, I just hope, and if Thiago's back, which obviously David just said that he might not be, but if he is, then that might be the creative spark that he needs in the team, and it could just give him a little lift in morale and stuff like that.
He played boss against Leicester last time as well, lad, didn't he? He scored them belter goals against Leicester, so hopefully he just comes back and does that again, lad. I feel like
Definitely.
It'd be nice as well, lad, to see Bobby and Jota team up. I want to see what they like to play together, lads. Yeah. I want to see what they're like in the top three, though. In the front three, I want to see what they're like, because they should really not be competing. They should be, like, you know, mates, like the way Mane and Salah are, like the way, that's what you want, lads. You want them all to play together and just be like they used to be, gel together, lads. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Hopefully he plays well.
This will be a huge game for Jota. Huge game for Jota, because you know what, mate, I'm excited to see Jota. Yeah, really definitely, because you know what, I just think Jota, with what he's shown early on, what he's shown early on is fantastic, and he's just such a good, quick, flary player. And I think, you know what, we need to go at Leicester the way they're going to come at us, and they're going to try and score goals. But one thing we know about Leicester, and one thing that they're weak at, they're not great at counter attacks. Which, by the way, when you've got Mane and Jota, you should be all right at doing a counter attack. And then they're not very good at set pieces, which we're not very good at either. But, and to be fair, we don't have some of our more stronger options for the set pieces. But if we can get the options into the box, then we can exploit them in them areas. So
I just feel like they're flat merchants, lad. Leicester flap. They do, lad. As soon as they get goals scored past them, they flap, lad. That's the way I see it with them, lad. So if we just get a few creative balls in there, lads, Mane to do a run, we'll do it, lads. We can beat these at Anfield as well.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. I can't lie. It would be great to have you both on the fan cams back on Sunday. There was obviously a decision made before this game that David Coote, the Manchester United fan, VAR assistant, was going to be in charge. He was rightfully taken off, as Diego says here, and replaced by Andre Mariner. David also makes a joke here. The VAR ref will be Caroline from the LFC canteen. Love that. I mean, that should never have been a decision anyway. I don't even want to get into the kind of decisions that could affect the result like that, as obviously they did the last time David Coote was in charge of this. Couple of predictions then. Androry says Liverpool 3, Leicester 2, Sadio Mane hat-trick. And there's a lot more predictions like that as well. Don't forget, Minamino played on the right for Salzburg on occasions. He can do a job, says Gopal. We'll have to see about that one. But lads, looking forward to this game. It's going to be an absolute screamer at Anfield under the lights, the last game of the weekend. And yeah, we'll see you for fan cam straight after as normal. And don't forget, guys, next week, a new show coming from Kop to Bottom, a new Premier League preview show that will be coming next Thursday with myself, James and Doyle. Hope his connection is a little bit better for that. But yes, no worries at all. Listen, guys, big love, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.